I want to thank you for joining me back here for the live read of Junebug. And Junebug is my first novel. And I don't think there could be a more perfect time for our world to take a moment and start explaining, the path of humanity to our children, right? And what is possible and how to avoid certain things, right? We've got one in, the formal stats are 1 in 5 children, I say 1 in 3, are being sexually violated before they're 18, right? We're not meant for that. We're not meant to be able to just pick up and go on about life after an experience like that. The child has nowhere to put that, no words to frame it, right? So pick up your copy of Junebug. You can hop on my website at CherieDoyen.com, hit the books page right there. You can grab your copy and read along. And we're going to just jump right back in today. Sometimes we go on these fabulous trail rides. One of the perks of the Saddle Club. An older guy in the group has a piece of property way out in the country. It's a beautiful spot, rolling hills, lots of trees, and there's a stream that flows not far from where we usually set up camp. Now, with the horses in tow and loads of food and drink, Dad tries to get there early to stake out the perfect spot for our weekend. He's always in control, right? I like to be close to the water, so I ride with him, maybe throw my 2 cents in, right? Now the tents are set up around a large stone grill. The grate on top is big enough to hold meat for 50 people. I love it so much. Dad rarely leaves the house without his chainsaw, so you never know when the need is going to show up, and he and I gather wood for the downed trees for the cooked fire. It takes a long time for the fire of that size to burn down enough to cook over. I might be able to get a quick ride in by myself before the crowd shows up, if I'm lucky. There are usually 10 to 15 families. As people begin to gather, the women busy themselves with the tasks of keeping us fed. It seems like that's what they do the whole time we're here. No wonder Mom hates camping. Horses or no horses. I don't want to get roped into that, so I stay on my horse the entire time, out of sight if I can manage it. I take the lead on every ride that goes out. All I have to worry about is staying mixed in the crowd. I don't want to get split off and end up out there with Randy or Uncle Vernon. My favorites are the moonlight rides. Ginger and I have a blast. When we're riding, we don't have to think. We can push it all the way back and make believe that all of life is just like this, peaceful. Back at the campsite, plenty of beers already down the hatch. The men end up gathering around Ginger. Uncle Vernon insists I need a better horse. I don't want another horse. She's my best friend and she's perfect. Uncle Vernon thinks he might get on and show her a thing or two. His butt no sooner hits the saddle, oops, he's in a heap on the ground. My hand flies to my mouth to quiet the giggles that threaten to spring out. My mind is screaming, Ginger, don't. He looks around a little bit embarrassed, but he gets right back on. And she jumps him again. It happens so fast. Now Dad starts chuckling. It's his turn. He thinks he's going to show her what's up. He climbs up, settles himself into the saddle. She lets him. He gives her a nudge in the side to move forward. Nothing. She looks over at me with a look that says, really? She has her feet dug in and she's not going anywhere. A good swift kick, nothing. He slaps her with the reins. She's glued to her spot, begging me to get him off. I hurry over. Dad, she's just tired, I say. I think Mom's calling you. A few others, seeing Dad's blood pressure rising, chime in, "Hey, let's go get another beer." And at this point, everyone's working together to diffuse the situation. We all know from experience what this potentially could turn into. One of Dad's temper tantrums would ruin the whole weekend for everybody. Dad dismounts. "Stupid goddamn horse. Just gonna have to get rid of her." Glancing back at her. "She's not worth a damn dime, though." I stroke her face and plant a huge kiss on her muzzle as we walk away quietly, smiling on the inside. I guess you showed them. There was this little store out in the middle of nowhere. It looked like an old Beverly Hillbillies type cabin with a long porch across the front. It had a couple of rocking chairs, and there were often a couple of old men out there smoking their cigarettes or chomping their ever-present chew, right? Now, there they sat with their spitting cups in hand, rocking and chatting it up. It was a funny little place. It felt as if you were walking back in time. As you crossed the threshold, there was a pot-bellied stove to one side with a couple of chairs around it. On the other was a long counter with a glass case, below filled with sundry small items from knives to belt buckles. Shelves of dry goods were along the walls, and off to the right was a room that housed jeans and other basic clothing items, like farmer work clothes. The old man and his wife lived in the back. The trip there was always an adventure. It was not at all like going to a regular store. There were big barrels of shoes, the ones that looked like Keds, but weren't. Now the trick was finding two, the same size, the same color, and then there's the right and the left. It was a job, right? Just a huge barrel of mismatched shoes. Mom and I would summon our patients and one by one pick through them. And with some luck, I'd find two in my size that actually went together. Now, Dad would have the boys back in the room stacked with Wrangler jeans. Now, these jeans were something else. They could stand up all by themselves. I didn't like them. The legs didn't bend right, and the jeans had more control over your legs than you did. I would stand in the doorway and laugh on the inside. This was one instance when I was glad to be a girl. At least I could get by with wearing dresses. The boys didn't have a choice. They walked around like robots for a while until they got broken in, and usually about that time, they started to get too short, or in Sam's case, had big holes in the knees. None of the girls on my grandma's limb of the tree escaped the praying eyes and hands of men. Men lurking, waiting until they knew no one was paying attention. Maybelle, the youngest of us three, was kidnapped by this Charles Manson-looking guy. Her father, Uncle Clarence, had a good heart, but no boundaries. He always saw the good in people, and unfortunately, the bad slipped by him. So this guy moved in across the street and gave her dad some sob story about tough times, and suddenly he was an official member of the family. And Maybelle, among his newfound privileges. Still in junior high, she was flattered by this new stranger's attention, his nice words. You know, it's always the nice words. You learn not to trust them very much after a while. You know, the words. It wasn't long before he sneaks her out in the middle of the night. No one ever locks their doors around here. By the time anyone realizes she was missing, he had her across the state line. It didn't take long to figure out who she was with. Uncle Clarence waited by the phone for that call. Maybelle finally found a way to escape and call home. Looking around, she found an address. After a big police bus, they got her home, and the man went to jail for a second and came directly after her as soon as he was released, waltzing right into Sunday morning mass. Now the men burst out of the church after and followed by a crowd of onlookers. Outsiders don't take our things, right? Outsiders don't take our things. I guess we're reserved for family members. An explosion went off this afternoon, and I'm not sure I've done. I'm sure I've done something. I'm just not sure what. It escalates very quickly, and I'm being held down on the floor by my father. His hand is around my throat. I'm watching from above. His hand is the size of my whole head. His fingers almost meet. My little neck looks so small in his grip. I can't scream. No air will come out. Not that it would do any good anyway. It doesn't matter. At this point, I've had enough. And I decide that Sam had too. It's time to try. I really hope it works. I look at Sam. He is so afraid. I want this to work so badly. Enough, Sam, let's go. I call out with my mind. I see that Sam hears me by the acknowledgement in his eyes. He's concentrating really hard. He rises up and takes my hand. I look back for a moment, watching my body begin to weaken. We come down softly in the meadow. A squeal of excitement erupts from Sam. We did it, bouncing up and down. It worked, June, I'm here. He takes in our surroundings. The joy in his eyes makes me laugh. I see Tigwa coming in the distance. A magnificent tiger is at his side. Is it real? Sam here too? Whatever. I'm not going to think about it too hard. Just go with it, June. I hear the teacher's voice in my mind. Sam's excitement pulls my attention away from my worry and back to the two ginormous approaching cats. I jump in and explain to Sam the animals can all talk here, and there are no mean ones. Don't be afraid. His wariness of the two approaching cats is more than obvious. I take his hand in mine to help ease his nerves. I can't contain my excitement, so I hurry, dragging him along behind in order to bridge the distance faster. I throw my arms around Tigwa's neck in a warm greeting. He greets my hug with a nuzzle and a warm, happy purring. So, Sam, is he real? Am I crazy? I whisper softly into Tigwa's ear. Tigwa, is Sam really here? Was he able to get here too? Or am I going crazy? Things feel really mixed up. In my mind, I hear, reality is where you are. What is here is real right now. Let go of your worry, June, and accept this gift today. No more questions for now. Everyone is waiting. I rise up and I look down at Sam. He's tugging on the hem of my blouse. Just a minute, Sam. Let's talk to Tigwa. Turning back to those amazing green eyes, softly I say, I'm really glad to see you today, Tigwa. Things aren't going so well down there. I'm not sure I'm going to make it through this one. I know. I was watching. You can see down there? I ask in amazement. Of course, I'm always watching, Tigwa replies. Oh, I almost forgot. This is my brother Sam. Who's your friend? Tigwa welcomes Sam with a bow. Welcome, June's brother Sam. And I would like to introduce you to my friend Zuni. He's going to have some fun with us today. I want you guys to climb up and settle yourselves in for an amazing ride. A ride like you have never experienced before. Sam, you can ride with Zuni today. June, you're with me. Are you sure, Tigwa? I'm too heavy. Wait, it's just another idea from down there. Come on. I want you to feel it, he replies. I want you to feel it, June. Feel what it feels like to be me, to be a panther. You have panther blood in your veins, you know. Panther blood? Shh, just feel it. Today's going to be all about fun. It's a surprise. All set? We begin to meander down the trail a ways, nice and easy. Then the cats begin to pick up speed. This feeling is like nothing I have ever experienced before. It's different from what I feel with the horses somehow. Tigwa flies off the trail, making his own way through the meadow. Zuni and Sam aren't far behind. I look back over my shoulder to check on Sam, and the smile across his face says it all. He's having the time of his life. Leaning in close to Tigwa, I begin to focus. Feel it, June. It's time for us to join, to become one. He says in my head, though, not out loud. The energy emanating from his body is electric, letting go of all thought. I find myself anticipating his every move. Suddenly, we shift into one. There is no me. There is no separation. I am the panther. I am seeing through his eyes. I see so clearly. Every blade of grass, every stream of light, every hair is an antenna. The amount of incoming information is almost overwhelming. I feel what it is to be alive. I feel the strength of my muscles as they stretch out for the next stride. Amazing, the power, the agility, panther power. And as we begin to slow the pace down, our molecules find their original places, and I find myself back on top. Zuni and Tigwa slow to a stop and line up side by side. Sam and I are speechless. Before us is a playground to top all playgrounds, with slides made of rainbows, lollipop flowers, marshmallow clouds, and right in the middle is a castle that looks as if it were made of spun sugar. The cat's laughter rings out in honor of our excitement. Hang on, Tigwa calls out, and with that, we're back on the move, covering the remaining distance. We slide off our rides and walk into a fairy tale where we are prince and princess for a day. The world is our playground. Sam drags me straight to the castle. Touching it, he giggles. Can we eat it? I guess so, right? And he picks off a piece and touches it to his tongue. It's sugar. He picks a bright red lollipop and he's off to touch the rainbow. He laughs, darting from one thing to another. He can't decide what to do first. I love seeing him laugh and play like a normal kid playing. It's a dilemma for me. I don't get it, but I want to. It's sure fun to watch Sam, though. And at the end of the day, we're laid out in a heap with the cats. We're content and exhausted. Our bellies are as full of many sweets. And at the end of the day, we're laid out in a heap with the cats. We're content and exhausted. And our bellies are full of as many sweets as we can hold. Sam's curled up in my arms and I'm curled up in Tigwa's. Zuni, he's stretched out, basking in the sun. It feels good to see Sam peaceful, free from worry. As he looks up at me, I witness a cloud come over his eyes. Can we just stay here, June? Please? I like it here. I don't want to go back. The tears reach the brim and threaten to spill over. My stomach doesn't hurt here. Please? I'm relieved to see the teacher approaching. I don't know what to say. I try diverting Sam's attention to the visitor. Look, here comes the teacher. I'm trying to keep my face on. I don't want Sam to see me get sad. Inside, I want to cry for him, for all of us. They won't let us stay here. I've tried. Now the teacher senses Sam's heaviness and takes him onto his lap, and he brings me in close at his side. Looking from Sam, then to me, he begins to speak. You two have to work together now. You have a special gift that's going to be very important to you both from this point on. You don't have to use words anymore to speak. You can use your thoughts. So speak loudly and clearly with your mind, the same as you do with your grandma, June. This will be a very valuable tool for the two of you in the future. And he looks at me intently now. Remember, June, you and Tigwa shifted, and you became one today. I nod my head with excitement. You have the energy of the panther running through your veins. Use it. When the time is right, use it. Remember, This is an important tool for your medicine pouch, June. Remember. And with that, I find myself back at home on the floor, gasping for breath. Dad's fingers loosen on my throat. He shakes his head, stands up, and walks away. I can't cry. I'm just thankful to be breathing, I guess. There are worse things than dying, you know. Being born? Throughout adulthood, the doctors, MDs, psychiatrists, specialists, psychologists, counselors, clergymen, I run the gamut, always searching for a way out of the prison that is my life. I have to keep running. If I slow down, it's going to catch me. The dark, dank slumber. It's always threatening to envelop me. Labels. Their secrets run through me like a virus, a deadly virus. The pain in my body is unbearable, debilitating. Each secret has its own set of symptoms, threatening to overtake me. One drug leads to the next, the side effects often worse than where I started. Another drug, then another, until I'm taking 11 prescription medications. It's hard to think in here, under this drug cloud. The slumber is upon me. All I want to do is sleep. They tell Bob that I'm never going to get better. It's just too much. The doctors quit talking to me. But inside, something's always pushing me to find the key. I've been seeing Dr. Randolph for a couple of years now, and the first thing he does is slowly pull me off of all the medications. This, in and of itself, is a great progress. At least I can think out in the light, out from under the big gray cloud. One day he says, "Why are you here, June? You can spout off everything I could ever tell you." I want out. I want to be able to feel. I want to feel normal. Am I crazy? Should I just give up? June, you're one of the sanest people I know. It's not you, it's them. You're not crazy. But what do I do with it all? How can I get it out of me, out of my body? Here's what I see. You have all the right facial expressions, all the right responses. You've been a very observant pupil, but you're not in there. Your body is like a puppet. Their secrets are taking up so much space. I feel like there's no room for me in here. They're so heavy, I don't want them anymore. I want it all out. I want to be here. I want to feel something other than pain. I don't know how to help you, June. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. I never went back. No one ever knows how to help me. I have to find my own way. The people you need will come to you. I remember the teacher saying, and at this point have exhausted all traditional means of treatment, I begin reading, and I find myself in the bookstore amongst the stacks of beloved books, my arms full as if waiting. On the floor in front of me is a book of meditation. I've heard the word before, but know nothing about it. I decide the book is intended to come home with me. This means I will have to stop running, sit still. It's said to heal the mind and the body. After working with the process on my own for a while, I'm led to a teacher. His philosophy coincides with that of the teacher of long ago. And after a while, I pose a question. How is meditation so different from what came so naturally when I was a girl? How I used to get to the other place. I just did it with my eyes open. It had the same result, the same process to focus on a single object or thought. Back to the beginning. So I hope you're enjoying our live read of Junebug. And, beginning to have that conversation with either members of your family or people that look up to you, right? And you start paying attention to the signs, right? Please share your thoughts, share your impressions. I would love to hear about them. And pick up your copy of Junebug, CherieDoyen.com.